I have the pleasure to make an interview with Preston Reine from IHS Markit, who is a research manager there and who has made, together with Impact Energy, an analysis of the market of motors in Switzerland. The first question I would like to ask you is about the general economic climate and the expected development concerning motor-driven systems.
Sure. So at IHS Markit, we track a number of economic indicators like GDP, economic confidence, and industrial production. So globally, 2017 has been a really great year. And that's the first year in a while where we've been able to look at that and say that we think going forward, it's going to be more positive growth for areas like motors, drives, and even motor-driven equipment like the pump, fan, compressor market. That's being driven largely by more consumer confidence, growth in infrastructure in several key regions. There are a number of concerns, though, with geopolitical concerns. Uncertainty tends to not bode well for investor confidence levels, but overall we see a lot of reason for positive growth in the commercial and light industrial markets.
That sounds reassuring.
Yeah.
My second question concerns the Swiss market. You made an analysis for motors and converters, and I would like to know more about the methodology that you used there.
Sure. Well, IHS Markit was really grateful to work with Impact Energy. It was a fun project. And so the point was to track motors and drives in Switzerland and look at what kind of, rate of compliance there is with energy efficient motors and drives. And the way that we went about that was by reaching into our contact base and talking with a lot of key suppliers in the market, as well as maybe machine builders and distributors in the area, to understand what the nature of the competitive environment is there. And one of the key things that we found was that close to 90% of motors sold in Switzerland that fall into the scope are indeed compliant with the efficiency regulations there.
This is, of course, very positive news for Switzerland. We are very happy about this result and that we can communicate this now to interested parties in Switzerland.
Yeah, it was very, very interesting.
I also would like to ask you, what are some of the emerging technologies that affect motor-driven manufacturing, motor-driven systems,
Some of the emerging technologies?
Yes.
Okay, so I guess the biggest thing that comes to mind would be Internet of Things. The industrial Internet of Things specifically is another way of looking at Industry 4.0, which is the more common term here in Europe. And so what that is looking at a connected factory, a connected enterprise, and looking at not just the components. So you see more of the successful vendors for motors, drives, any type of factory equipment really. They're branching away from selling products and more providing solutions. So that means that putting nodes and connecting devices so that you can track it, and maybe not just focusing on selling an efficient piece of equipment, but rather something that you can talk to and communicate with and understand what the nature of your equipment is and track it so that you can provide maintenance before it's an issue.
So how do you think that this development affects energy efficiency in the future?
Well, that's interesting. It's kind of hard to say at this point just because it's such a new emerging trend. But theoretically, it seems that more and more customers are aware of, sure, there's a benefit to having energy efficient equipment, but if you maybe buy just a more efficient motor or drive or pump even, you're increasing the efficiency by maybe 2 or 3%. But where you're really saving a lot of money is if you focus on getting the right sized equipment that is specific to the application, and then if you're able to connect everything and understand how it's operating specifically for that application, you can prevent a lot of expensive maintenance and downtime, because downtime accounts for a large majority of expenses when you look at the end users. And so I think that it could make there less of a focus on energy efficient, while it will still be important, but you need to consider the whole nature of the factory of the future.
Thank you very much.
Sure.